mitigate. There is some stuff you can, of course, mitigate the impact on these issues. You can convince your customer that when he buys a product, it is essential. It is like breathing, like inhaling air. Without it, you cannot accomplish anything. Without it, you are nothing. But however, there are a lot of sharks in the tank. Sharks who will and who want to sell their product as well. And they will as well try to convince their customers that what they buy and what they ought to be buying is essential for them. Without, they cannot do. And I think about this, that I would be in the end probably nothing more than an ordinary salesperson. Yeah, there was some guy here. People will probably talk about me. There was some guy here who lived here a couple of years ago, and then he went nuts. All these sleazy and shady businesses. I never believed him. I never thought he would come far, and he never did. And I would see, and I see their sneers and snickerings. So they enjoy my failure. Why wasn't I never prepared for this? I think about it. I have to think about the solution. And then at once, it strikes me. It strikes me like a lightning. Why haven't I thought about it before? Why hasn't it crossed my mind? Dr. Bernstein, the medical practitioner. He's not a friend, of course. He is well known in this neighborhood, and everyone in this neighborhood attends his service. Maybe it is all a disease. Maybe it's a tumor. And I feel somehow relieved that it could be something in my brain, that my situation is dire. Maybe it is something that hampers with me, or has been hampered with me all along. More and more I get convinced that this has been going on for years, and I haven't been aware of it so far. Maybe it's a disease. I get up, I am relieved. I'm relieved because I can now point at something, can identify something, try to figure out what is wrong with me. Maybe this is it. I sum up all the ailments I have. I cannot walk sometimes straight ahead. I feel vertigo, even though if I am with both feet on the ground. Some days I cannot set the foot in front of another. It seems like even simply walking somewhere, feels like walking on glass. It is unbearable. I hear scream in my ears. Someone is screaming. And this scream, it seems like as if it would be coming out of my head. I feel a burning sensation. The first time I had it, I thought that I was having a heart attack. I felt like burning all over my body. And I felt like screaming. I felt like I could not breathe anymore. All this fire, all this smoke, it was all over me. It was inside me, in my lungs and everything. I could not say anything. Sometimes I cannot even utter anything, not even utter a word. I stutter. I struggle to bring out the word. And then I think about it, what I want to say, even though I know what I say, and I know what I want to say. It seems like that I don't get the words out. These all are serious issues, aren't they? They have to mean something. They have to mean something seriously. I've heard that people with brain injuries, they have all these ailments. I've been told that people who once survived severe brain injuries, even though everyone is cheerful and everyone thanks the doctors, yeah, well, thank you, you helped my boy or you helped my daughter to get on their feet. However, they actually never really recover. They have to suffer through a lifelong of ailments, of pain, of headaches, of dizziness, vertigo. It never ceases. And maybe something happened. Yeah, of course. I remember I used to drive a lot with my bike in my youth. And I was a rough driver, And maybe something happened. Maybe something I do not remember anymore. Maybe I hit my head. I bumped my head. Maybe something in my youth happened. And all these years, it was slumbering inside me. It was something inside me all these years, and I had forgotten about it. I hadn't thought about it. And I feel more and more convinced that this is something which has been inside me all these years, and I have suppressed it all this time. And now is the time. Now when I get older, now when I feel worn out, and this is some days I really feel like worn out. I feel like crushed, and I don't know how and why this is all happening. Maybe this all comes together. In my youth, I imagine myself, at least I perceive myself as strong, as independent, as someone who is ambitious, who has energy. This is how a young lad, a young boy has to be. And then later a young man profusing with ambition, unstoppably keen to accomplish something, keen to accomplish great. And haven't I accomplished great? No, I have to go to Dr. Bernstein. I have to tell him. And now it even feels easier to talk to someone. I assume something is wrong in my brain. I feel something. I've read about stuff. I don't dare to read. Somehow, I don't want to read about anything. I don't feel the strength to read about brain tumors, because somehow I imagine this is, even though it might be lucky, this is sad as well. I could lose my life, despite the fact that I am relieved. Still, I think I could be separated by Claire and the kids. I could lose everything I have. And now I feel some sort of a bitter taste of unfairness in my life. Haven't I worked my ass off? Did I leave everything ever to chance? Now it could all slip away from me. I could die. This is serious. And my initial relief is some sort of hampered, weighs down. Now more and more I realize, if this is a brain tumor, if this is something serious, I would have been robbed of all I hold dear in my life. I'm close to tears. I want to weep. I don't remember whenever I have wept, when I have wept. Maybe somewhere in my youth. I don't know. I always kept things to myself. I always said to myself, well, if you weep, nothing is going to change. Tears won't soothe your pain. Nothing. And for nobody. Tears are for nothing and nobody. It never helped anyone, and it is rather girlish to weep. No, I have never wept. But now I feel like weeping. Now I feel like that this calamity, that it strikes me, that it weighs me down, and this is the most striking of it all, that I am not tied in my saddle, that I have fallen off the horse, maybe off the high horse. Maybe I was riding on a high horse, but more and more I realize my own weakness. I feel that I, as a man who had been thinking all these years that he is strong, he is robust, and that this is one key ingredient to be successful. And I always thought of myself that I'm probably one of the few essential successful men, that I could even be a role model. But now I struggle. Now I stumble, and I fell down. My belief in my invincibility is odd, and what will happen? But it is somehow excusable. My mind is in disarray. Maybe it's not madness after all. I think the worst thing that could ever happen to me is when people identify me as a madman, as someone out of his wits. I shudder. I shudder through all my body. I get goosebumps. Nothing worse would be if people would call me madman, insane. He's a lunatic. I couldn't bear these words. I couldn't bear people talking behind my back about this. And the worst thing is when my children would hear it. Would they ask themselves, will we have the same madness? Will we fall into madness like our dad? Is it all genetics? I try to remember whether my parents were all insane. I think a lot of my parents lately. It is painful. I more and more realize. I always thought that I had nice parents. I always thought that the great thing my parents did for me was that they did not abuse me. Because I've seen a lot of nasty stuff what children had to went through, the hell children had to went through. I was spared of it. Maybe I was lucky. I don't know. At least it doesn't feel like lucky. It is weird. It is weird thinking about my parents. It is weird thinking about my mother. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about my mother. I don't want to think about her. No. I want to think about Dr. Bernstein. I immediately rush to the phone. I make an appointment with the secretary. She asks me, what is your ailment? What is wrong? I stop for a while. I stop dead for a while. I haven't thought about a proper answer. I just come up with some random words. I have vertigo. I feel dizzy. I don't have a cold or something, yet I feel something is in my brain. The secretary sounds concerned, and she immediately gives me an appointment. I'm relieved. This went well. I always feared how difficult it would be to express this ailment to someone else. Will they look me up when they realize that I'm insane? When they thought that I'd be insane?